Hello and welcome to the Hard Questions. We are still closely following the developments in the Forum for Democratic Change as the Katonga faction recently had a delegates conference that resolved to look into dissolving the Forum for Democratic Change. Today on the show, we're privileged to be having one of the top leaders of the Forum for Democratic Change, Katonga faction. That is he also doubles as the Lord Mayor of the city, Erias Lukwago. Lord Mayor, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Listen, there is a lot of conversations happening within the Forum for Democratic Change, and this is as the political terrain begins to shape up ahead of the 2026 general elections. I know that there was a delegates conference, and there were conversations of dissolving Forum for Democratic Change. Would love to hear it from you. What really is going on?
What is going on, we pronounce ourselves on each and almost everything at the delegates conference that was convened on the 19th day of this month. I think the message was loud and clear. We are charting out a new direction, taking a new trajectory. And before we do that, we have to first wind up the entity we have been subscribing to, in accordance with the party constitution. And as the acting president in the interim, I was tasked with the duty of heading a team in this extended period to pursue those two processes. One, liquidation or dissolution of the FDC. Two, registration of a new party. Those are the two basic or fundamental tasks that were presented before me. And we have already started on the process. The notice is out for the dissolution of the party. We assigned that to the chairman and the deputy chairman, the vice chairman rather, of the FDC, Eastern. The Honorable Salam Musumba, together with the Her Superior, the chairman, Ambassador Birigwa, and they have already prepared a notice, which I'm sure has come out in the papers, to the effect that within the next 6 months, the FDC as you knew it would be no more.
How does this make you feel that for a party that was one of the strongest opposition political parties in this country, does it give you joy to start the dissolution of the Forum for Democratic Change party?
Just like it doesn't give me joy to see all the parties in this country to have those tremors they are experiencing, all of them. For the record, I was at the forefront in the fight for restoration of multi-party democracy. As a young man, as a young lawyer, I was part of the legal team. I was privileged to be part of the legal team under the aegis of the late Dr. Pokawanga Semogere, pushing for restoration of political parties, because I believed in it. Much against Museveni's machinations against party politics, because all along he paraded that paradigm and he pushed it so much, rather that thinking that look, the narrative rather, that look, the history of this country is awash with upheavals, with turmoil, simply because of partisan politics. That we should close doors and curtains on multi-party democracy and have our homegrown democracy in the form of a movement political system, something which was alien, not only in political science, but also in all democracies worldwide. But they said this is unique, it's ours, it's homegrown, it's something indigenous. Yeah. So that's what Museveni came up with. So young as I was at that time, imbued by those philosophies which I espoused so much about free thinking, about liberty, about, free exchange of ideas. I spared no energy in pushing for restoration of multi-party democracy. So that's the pain I have when I see parties dying. Because NRM is on the brink of death, and DP is almost moribund, UPC almost dead, FDC on the way to the graveyard, and the NUP is also facing those tremors, the fissures you see, the fault lines you see in NUP and in JEMA and everywhere. So I review the opportunities lost along the way for us to build a solid, a rock foundation for the flourishing of multi-party democracy in this country.
By destroying the very party that was one of its key pillars, Forum for Democratic Change.
No,
Lord Mayor,
you see, it's not about destroying.
You are dissolving this party.
You see, dissolution does not mean destruction.
This party...
These are two different words.
What's the difference, Lord Mayor?
FDC was formed for a reason. It's a vision and a mission, as enshrined in the party constitution. It's very, very clear. So if you have veered off that path, if FDC has veered off, the entity as it in its current form and shape has veered off the original mission and vision, and actually the aspirations of all Ugandans, then it becomes a liability. Just like any company, when it becomes a liability, what do? You liquidate it. You put it under receivership.
But Mayor, this political party was built by men who came before you.
It's the reason we are saying nobody should sell it to Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, because it was painstakingly built on people's blood, people's sweat. There are people who died. Many Ugandans, known and not known. You get it? Many people. I speak with a heavy heart when I talk about the people who have shed blood in the name of building that entity.
And yet you want it to go out?
No, the reason we want to have it liquidated is to actually not kill it, but to have to, because you have to have a belief. Solomon, when you die, somebody will emerge out of you. You get it? So a new offshoot, a new outfit will emerge out of the pieces. You get it? Of the FDC. A new outfit will emerge. But the moment you leave it standing as a liability, to remain a stumbling block in the path to Cannes, to the promised land. You get it? So that is it. That is the whole idea. It's not about killing this, because the FDC is not the vehicle. No, listen, let me conclude this. The FDC is the spirit, is the soul. The soul is alive and kicking. You see, look at it this way, metaphorically. When you die, Solomon, what is buried is that housing, the body. Solomon Sewanja, the soul, goes into heaven, in a holy place. So the soul of FDC, the heart of the FDC is still with us. It's alive and kicking. And the body, which was the housing, which was at Najanankumbi, is the one we are burying. And then we get a new housing for the soul, and we continue with the journey to the promised land. What's wrong with that?
I look at it differently.
Yes.
I look at it as a team of people who are selfish and have not done enough to harmonize the differences within a political party that once used to bring the NRM to its knees and give guidance and policy to this country.
Probably I may be guided by
Lord Mayor, I am asking a question here. How did you get to this?
I wanted to pick ideas from your own wisdom on how we go about, because you said, you used the word harmonization. How do we go about it? How do we harmonize irreconcilable differences?
You've called them irreconcilable.
Yes. Like, look here. The road you are taking is to the promised land. Somebody is taking you to Damascus. So what do you do? What do you do? You go to Damascus? So the point here is, if the forefathers, the founders, had a vision, had a mission, can that vision or mission be achieved within the current framework of the FDC? We have done enough diagnosis and established it's not possible. So it's the very reason we want to create a new housing for the soul of the FDC to continue with our journey.
Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago, there are people who have vehemently disagreed with what is happening within FDC and have decided to take another direction. Betty Olive Kamia was a strong member of the Forum for Democratic Change. When she disagreed with what was happening, she moved on to form the Federal Alliance. The former leader of the Forum for Democratic Change, General Mugisha Muntu, disagreed on principle. He formed another political party. You have strongly, the team at Katonga, disagreed that the position of the Forum for Democratic Change is not where...
Okay, that's where now I challenge you. Tell me the position you have disagreed with.
No, because
let me put it.
You've just told me. You've said we're going to Damascus.
It's very simple.
And you're taking us to the promise. Okay, we're going to Promised Land. You're taking us to Damascus.
It's a very simple thing.
You disagree, get off and start your own party without dissolving FDC.
Let's draw parallels. Let's get these issues into proper context. There was an election in 2017, internal election for the party structures, the FDC president.
Yes.
Mugisha Muntu offers himself as against Patrick Oboy Amuriat. Mugisha Muntu loses, and on his own volition says no. The party has taken a decision. I respect the decision. But I will not continue with that party. It was his own choice.
After deciding,
he took a decision cautiously.
Correct.
It was his own choice.
Correct, because he didn't think the party was moving in the right decision.
The party we have disagreed with.
No, I'm saying...
No. Where is the position of the party we have disagreed? If anything, by the way, it is the Najana Nkumbi faction you are talking about, which has disagreed with the position of the party. The position of the party was taken on 19th September 2023. There was a delegates conference. So it is those people who disagreed. So actually it should be those people to establish a different party, not we who stood within the path and the confines of the party constitution. You get it? This is where I want you now to put on those lenses and analyze these issues in their proper context. That we are within the four corners of the party constitution, where we are within the lane, the confines of the party constitution, and they are veered off. They are away. So you want us, the members of the party who are within the confines of the constitution, and even dissolution is under Article 36. We are not even doing it outside the party constitution. It's under Article 36 of the constitution, which the framers envisaged and said, look here, there could be a moment when this institution, this vehicle, may have lost relevance and may have veered off the mission and vision we espouse at that time, or at any given time. In a nutshell, they foresaw a situation where the FDC as an entity would be a liability to the people of Uganda. And it would be not in consonance with the vision and mission they espoused. And they said, when you reach that point, you dissolve it. That's what they provided in Article 33. And now we are satisfying the wish of the framers of this party. The founders, rather. And the entire membership. We consulted members. Members said, let's dissolve it. So have the Najana Nkumbi consulted? Has the Najana Nkumbi faction consulted? Have they consulted anyone on any of the decisions? For us, we are not taking unilateral decision as leaders. It's a decision of the wider membership of the party, countrywide. We took trouble over 6 months, 9 months actually, consulting.
Yeah. We
were consulting. And the consultation yielded this position that, please, looking at the current dynamics within the party, it has outlived its usefulness. It's a liability to the mission and vision of the forefathers, of the founders. Therefore, Article 36 should be called into action, into play, to have it liquidated.
Najana Nkumbi faction, who you say actually should form a new party,
He should form their own party.
Responded to that. I'm sure you've seen the response, but I just wanted to read you.
to engage in any argument with them.
I think that they have given.
You'll not drag me there.
They have given their views.
I'll not be dragged. I'll not allow myself to be dragged into their direction because they have indulged in petty squabbles. Theirs is, if you ask me what they have said, the long and short of it is that how they have insulted Besigye, they have insulted Lukwago, Salam Sumba, Semuju, Ambassador Birigwa. Theirs is to insult us. So, what do you want me to also respond with insults?
No, they talked about...
No, the way I was brought up, I cannot do that.
Yeah, but they just brought about different court decisions.
Which issues are... No, forget about that. I've told you, we have done consultations with the people. They have not raised any fundamental issue. Theirs is to pile insults and slander. That is all. And for us, we are rising above that. I cannot debate that crap. No way.
Okay. Well, I read because they were citing the different rulings, court rulings on that, but I don't want to take you into the legal gymnastics.
No, even if you are to take me there. Okay, fine. Agreed. Court ruled that Akena shouldn't be the head of the UPC. Who is now heading UPC? Has he left?
No.
Most recently, court pronounced itself on the delegates conference of DP in Guru and said, no, it was a nullity. Has Mao left the helm of DP?
He's still there.
So don't take me into those illegal gymnastics. I know what they are engineering, the machinations.
But you believe in rule of law?
Rule of law does not presuppose abuse of the law. You see, rule of law talks about good laws. It doesn't. It has no room for bad decisions. Actually, it's not that every decision of the court is a reflection of the rule of law. No. Otherwise, apartheid wouldn't be condemned. Apartheid was lawful. Colonialism was lawful. Do you know how many ordinances were handed down to the colonialists by the Queen's government in London here? How about slavery? Even slavery. These people who sat in Berlin, I think it was 1884, those who sat there to parcel themselves, to parcel up Africa and share it amongst themselves, they did it in accordance with the law. Were they right? So you go back and understand the doctrine of rule of law, constitutionalism, and the jurisprudence behind that. You will come to appreciate that whatever they are talking about, the Najana Nkumbi is talking about, is what we call rule by law. There is what they call rule of law and the rule by law. All the draconian laws, together with the judgments anchored on draconian laws, are in the realm of rule by law. Laws which are just and decisions made in pursuance of those good laws is what is within the realm of rule of law. Get the dichotomy between the two. So don't take me into that lane of rule by law, because that's what they enjoy the most. They love it, rule by law. I'm talking about rule of law.
And I know you for that.
Exactly.
I'm one of the people who feels bad that this once strong opposition political party that brought Ugandans who believed in the vision and the dream that FDC had find themselves in a very delicate position, divided. Some of them are giving up. You have Najana Nkumbi, you have Katonga. Katonga is saying we're dissolving the party. Najana Nkumbi is saying FDC still stands. You leave people in a very delicate position.
How?
Confused.
How? But for us, we consulted the people. We consulted the members on all these decisions we have taken. And by the way, many of our members appreciate the issues. They can dissect all these issues and the repugnant conduct of our colleagues at Najana Nkumbi. They know it. So you will not drag us into the direction where we shall embrace this abhorrent and repugnant behavior of our colleagues just because you want to be seen that you are working together, that you are civil. You know.
Why are you choosing to dissolve FDC? Why?
Because I've told you, I've mentioned the word repugnancy. The vision, the mission of the party, as espoused by the founders and the entire membership today, is not what is reflected in the decisions of Najana Nkumbi for and on behalf of the party. In other words, the repugnancy clause I'm talking about, the FDC as is now, in the frame they want to project it at Najana Nkumbi, is repugnant to the philosophy, the ideals, the mission, and the vision of not only the founders of the party, but the general membership and Ugandans at large. So once you get that situation and you are faced with that repugnant behavior of the members of the faction of the party, and you feel like it's now a stumbling block in the way to the promised land, put it aside, get the soul of the members, get the soul of the party, put it in a different housing, move on.
Let me ask you this as we conclude. You left DP, you formed SUVI. You formed Action, TJ, and all those factions.
Now you are degenerating into...
No, I'm not degenerating because these are facts.
Uh-huh.
You formed,
okay, let me listen to your question.
Yes, you formed SUVI after you left. You disagreed and formed all these, pressure groups, political pressure groups. Now, you people are forming a new party. Where does that leave you?
I know that is now a veiled presentation of the crap being spewed up by the Najana Nkumbi faction. I know.
It is not crap. No, but
it's total crap. Listen, let me ask you. Which party is now stable? Am I responsible now? Let me pose these questions. Am I responsible for the crisis faced by UPC, where you have Jimmy Akena and my brother, my friend Peter Olivier on the other side? Am I responsible for the crisis in the NRM, where you have Lukwago almost killing, you have Lukwago and Muhoozi at each other's neck. They are literally tearing each other apart. Am I responsible for that mess in NRM? Am I responsible for the fissures, which I've talked about, the cracks within the NUP along the divide of the Honorable Mpugandi and the Honorable Chagula? Am I responsible? Am I responsible for the crisis in Ijema, where you have Chamundo on the one side and Basari on the other? Am I responsible for the crisis in the Catholic, in the Church of Uganda, where you have on one side one team and the other the crisis you've had in Luwero? Am I responsible for even within my backyard, where you have the Supreme Mufti and you have Mubaje? Am I responsible for that? I'm sure you can rise above that crap. I'm sure Solomon to also believe that actually the problem of political parties in Uganda today, and not only political parties, all institutions in this country, social, economic, political, the source of the problem is Lukwago. Can you believe that crap? Spare me that.
Lord Mayor, okay, let's leave it at that. Yeah, as we conclude, last one. How does the future look like for you? Okay, once the dissolution is done, what next?
What next is we continue with the fight for restoration of the party. What's going to happen is to continue with the struggle, because we have the big elephant before us in the room: the family rule, the dynasty, the Kaguta dynasty. You have a personal rule being entrenched by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and is pursuing a succession agenda, and the country is being dragged along, that we have an impending catastrophe, a crisis, anarchy. What is happening in Libya, what is happening in Sudan, happening in Somalia, happening in Tunisia, happening in Iraq, is bound to happen here, and we sit back and watch as events unfold. It's the reason we have to brace ourselves for the challenges we are embroiled and engrossed in as a country today, and we are going to continue with that, working alongside all other progressive forces within all these formations. Because in UPC they are there, in NUP they are there in JEMA, they are there in DP. We are going to amalgamate and galvanize our efforts and take a singular direction. That is it.
So you're looking at, once everything is ready, you're looking at a united opposition.
We are looking at not only united opposition, because that presupposes leadership of the parties, or the parties coming together.
Yeah.
No, we are looking at a solidified citizenry that is taking the bull by the horns, whether party formations or no party formations, whether you have party formations or you don't have. We want a citizenry that is solidified behind this mission, behind this agenda of taking charge of our destiny, getting the civilian authority, taking charge of the governance of this country, taking decisions for and on behalf of this nation, in line with the spirit of Article 1 and Article 3 of the Constitution, that power resides with the people. In a nutshell, we want to have the sovereignty of the people taking charge of the destiny of this country. That is the mission.
Get a flashlight and flash for me into 2026. What do you see?
I don't even have to go there, because I'm not so sure that we are going to have that election in 2026. If we continue like this, with the bastardization of politics going on right now, we may have anarchy before 2026.
Why? Why do you think so?
You see, when you have Paris politics taking center stage right now, don't take these matters lightly. Where Annie Iniro is fighting, Annie Iniro, in the names of Lukwago, fighting the first son who is the CDF, and the big brother or the father is just watching them, or one or the other is fueling what is happening. Don't take it lightly. It portends danger. That's a red flag for this country. That potentially we are headed for anarchy as a country. So it's absurd, and for me, it would be delusional on my part and on the part of all Ugandans to begin focusing on 2026 when you have the house on fire. Uganda is already on fire. Where the first family is dragging us, it's a fire. You have Museveni dynasty entrenched within the body politic of this country. And you begin thinking about 2026. I think it would be foolhardy. It's delusional. And I wouldn't support Ugandans to begin focusing on that as of now. The earlier we think about a transition, the better.
What scenarios do you see? Transition.
There are two scenarios: succession or transition. No any other. There are two possibilities, two scenarios. Either to have a succession, whereby the Museveni dynasty will choose an anointed successor. Now we have the Crown Prince, Muhoozi, being propelled by the family. You can see Toyota, you can see General Saleh and others. They seem to be propping him up. You have the Iniro who is also fighting for succession. So there is succession fight within the palace. That is on the one hand. And for transition. The rest of Ugandans, what we desire is a transition that not even a single political entity can help us extricate ourselves out of this conundrum. It's not possible. So it's the reason we are saying Ugandans should come together. We work out a transitional arrangement, a transitional program. Uganda is ripe. Actually, what Museveni is fighting and the First Family is they are trying to postpone the transition. It happened in Zimbabwe when Mugabe and his wife, actually Zimbabwe was due for a transition. Mugabe and his wife, they tried to postpone it. I remember even at a press conference when Mugabe was expected to throw in the towel, only to come on the TV at a national conference, when everybody in the country were waiting for one statement, I have resigned. He said, but you people, the rains have come, you go digging, go to the gardens. He wanted to fool you, the Zimbabweans. It's the bastardization of politics we have talked about. And they had to push him aside. So the transition was forestalled, was short-changed, but to a big detriment. So in Uganda today, as I speak, on good authority, without any fear of contradiction, that Uganda is ripe for a transition. So whatever palace politics going on, the altercation, the exchanges you are witnessing, it's about transition. They want to forestall it. They want to short-change it, to have a succession, to push the succession agenda. So those are the two scenarios, either succession agenda or a transition agenda. No any other option that you are going to have elections in 2026. No. We are going to have either a succession agenda or a transition agenda.
Wow.
That is it.
Thank you so much.
The hard reality is that.
Yeah. Lord Mayor, thank you so much for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure.
I've been speaking to the Lord Mayor, Erias Lukwago, on what's happening within the Forum for Democratic Change Party, as well as the politics of this country as we get into 2026. I'm Solomon Serwanta, and this is The Hard Questions.